Power is usually measured in massive armies, cold steel, and spilled blood on battlefields. But Russia's most dangerous man ruled the empire without lifting a single sword. Grigori Rasputin, an illiterate, disheveled peasant who held the Tsar in his palm. He did not command with a shout, but dominated the powerful with a terrifying whisper. This is not his biography. This is the blueprint of a grand psychological deception. Genghis Khan broke walls with catapults. Rasputin broke minds with dependency and faith. In the golden halls of St. Petersburg, a dark shadow swallowed all the light. He turned the king and queen into helpless puppets, dancing to his tune. But how did a homeless mystic manage to hijack the throne of the Romanov dynasty? He found the only crack in the empire's armor, a bleeding boy. Rasputin was the only merchant of hope for a powerful family that had everything but hope. His methods are still alive, hidden in modern boardrooms and toxic relationships. Understanding him is the only way to arm your mind against this invisible influence. Welcome to the anatomy of soft power, where history becomes a teacher of strategy. This is the Vizier's edge.
The Russian Empire had a powerful exterior, but inside it hid a deadly secret. Alexei, the Tsar's only son and heir, suffered from the bleeding disease, hemophilia. For Empress Alexandra, her son's smallest fall could mean the end of the Romanov dynasty. Europe's best doctors failed, science was powerless, and despair opened the palace gates. When logic gives no answer, humans turn to magic. This was the predator's moment. Grigori Rasputin came from Siberia, smelling of dirt, manure, and false holiness. He was no noble, but he had eyes that seemed to strip the human soul naked. On a critical night, he sat by Alexei's bed and stopped the bleeding. It wasn't magic. By calming mother and son, he lowered the child's blood pressure. But for the Empress, it was a divine miracle. Rasputin was now God's messenger. Rasputin immediately made himself the sole guarantor of the heir's survival. He spoke a sentence that sealed Russia's fate. "If I die, he dies." This was peak emotional blackmail. The mighty Tsar was now a hostage to his own fears. Rasputin isolated the court. Anyone opposing him was an enemy of the heir's life. He became the filter for all information reaching the ears of the Tsar and Queen. Rasputin's masterpiece was his personal branding, a contradictory mix of saint and sinner. He preached that to reach true salvation, one must first sin deeply. By day, he kneeled in church. By night, he drowned in debauchery in Moscow taverns. This contradiction was confusing. Russian nobility became fascinated by this holy savage. Unpredictability is the key to power. No one knew what his next move was. As the World War began, Rasputin effectively became the shadow Tsar, hiring and firing ministers. His crumpled notes were more powerful than official government decrees. While soldiers froze at the front, he drank champagne in the palace, destroying the country. His influence made the people believe the Tsar and Queen had betrayed Russia. By engineering dependency, Rasputin gnawed through and collapsed the pillars of a 300-year empire. His death was violent, but the legacy of his psychological methods is still alive. Let's step away from history and dismantle the mechanism of this mental weapon. Rasputin was not a wizard. He was a mind hacker who found the insecurity code. His algorithm was simple: find the pain, be the only cure, build dependency. This pattern repeats around you today. Can you see it?
Rasputin didn't die in 1916. He just swapped his robe for a business suit. Today, Rasputins are consultants promising to save your collapsing company. They first exaggerate the crisis to make you feel paralyzed and helpless. Then they present themselves as the only ones with the secret formula for return. Just like Rasputin, they isolate the CEO from their team to gain absolute control. But his most dangerous version is not in the boardroom, but in your bedroom. In relationships, Rasputin enters with love bombing, not with prayers. They find your childhood wounds and become exactly the bomb you need. Once you are hooked, the mask falls. The savior angel becomes a ruthless judge. This is gaslighting. They make you doubt your own sanity. You're crazy. You're sensitive. Phrases that slowly steal your power. Why don't we leave? Psychology has a scary answer: intermittent reinforcement. Just like a slot machine, unpredictable rewards are more addictive than constant ones. Rasputin was sometimes kind, sometimes cruel. This fluctuation kept the victim addicted. Your brain waits for the good moments and tolerates the bad. It is a chemical trap. On a larger scale, populists use this same method to hypnotize the masses. They create an imaginary enemy and present themselves as the people's only defensive shield. The Rasputin pattern is always the same. I am the only one who can cure this pain. We think we are smarter than the Tsar, but our hemophilia is fear of the future. And wherever there is fear, a Rasputin is ready to take your reins. The question is, how can we break this spell before our empire falls?
Prince Yusupov tried to eliminate Rasputin with poison and bullets. But physical violence was useless. He killed the man, but immortalized the legend. To defeat the Rasputin of your life, you must not fight him, but neutralize him. Here we explore 3 laws of mental defense to guarantee your immunity. Law 1. Find your bleeding. Rasputins only enter through open wounds. Ask yourself, what lack do I have that I'd pay any price to fill? Do you crave validation, or financial security, or love? This is the enemy's entry point. If Empress Alexandra had faced her fears, she wouldn't have needed a false savior. Awareness of weakness is your armor. When you know where you're vulnerable, no one can exploit it. Law 2. Kill the idol. Their power lies in their mystery. Rasputin tried to appear extraterrestrial. You must see him as completely earthly. Notice the trivial details, the way they eat, stutter, small contradictions. When you turn off the halo, only a greedy, ordinary human remains. In Zen Buddhism, they say, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him, meaning never elevate anyone so high that they dominate you, even your master. Law 3, and the hardest one, acceptance of incurable pain. The Tsar paid Rasputin because he didn't want to accept his son was sick. Sometimes there is no solution,
and accepting this truth is absolute power. He who does not fear pain needs no false painkillers from gurus. True independence is the ability to stand in the dark without begging for another's candlelight. Rasputin was a monster, but he was also the greatest teacher of soft power. He taught us that empires fall not by artillery, but by a whisper. He showed us how fragile the human mind is against false hope. Now you have this knowledge. Will you be the next victim or the master of the game? In a world full of Rasputins, be your own Vizier. If you want to turn your mind into an impenetrable fortress, you've come to the right place. Hit subscribe so you don't get lost in the darkness of history. Next episode, we will visit a darker figure. Be ready. This is the Vizier's Edge. Wisdom for survival.